This game between the Halifax Mooseheads and Moncton Wildcats probably should have been ended early. It was one of the most lopsided games I've seen in a while. The skill discrepancy, as evidenced by this shorthanded goal, just insane. Anyway, welcome to the video, guys. For those of you who don't know, on this channel, alongside NHL and just hockey coverage generally, I take a special close look at my local CHL team, the Halifax Mooseheads. Not just what the games are like, but the really interesting experience that comes with being a fan of one of the CHL's most popular teams. I always split these videos up into several segments. If you want to jump around, I'll put the timestamps on screen right now. We're actually starting with something a little bit different, a sponsorship on this channel. I've turned down about 1 million sponsors up to now, but this one I had to go with. If you play beer league hockey in Halifax, you're probably familiar with the brand I'm talking about today, Boxing Rock Brewing, and specifically their Puck Off Lagered Ale. If you imagine a beer that you drink in the dressing room before or after a beer league game, it's basically this one. It's extraordinarily crushable, very light, and just overall really delicious. And the best thing is they support local hockey throughout Halifax and Nova Scotia. I set this up after one of my hockey games. But yeah, this sponsorship is mostly for my Halifax viewers. Check out Boxing Rock. You can find them at any NSLC. They also have a website I'm going to link down below. They will do mail deliveries. You can also check out their tap room. And if you're in the other maritime provinces, they do carry select Boxing Rock products, although only seasonally, but it doesn't hurt to ask. But yeah, I'm doing this for literally a few cases of beer. I just love the products so much, and I'd love to do more with them. So please, if you're local, consider checking them out. And mention my name if someone asks how you found them, or hit them up on Twitter, Instagram, whatever. But anyway, let's talk about the Mooseheads game. And as always, I like to talk about the experience because it's such a huge part of going to the game. I love going to Mooseheads games because more than just the game itself, it's always a fun experience. This one was interesting. It was a 2 p.m. game. They have quite a few of these, and I take my son to every single one of these possible. He's not quite old enough for the 7 p.m. games. He'd be asleep by first intermission, but he loves these, and I'm hoping I'm making the same childhood memories for him that I really look back fondly on. I do have a press pass for the Mooseheads, although these tickets were actually gifted to me for my birthday a couple of weeks ago. However, I still made full use of the press pass's functionality by taking him down to see the players before the game. I also wanted to explore a bit more of the arena for you guys, and one way I did that was by asking if I could take a look at a non-occupied box. And yeah, this isn't every box in the what used to be called the Metro Center, now the Scotiabank Center, but this is one of the pretty standard ones. There are larger suites and also a few smaller ones, but going to the box is amazing. You get so much food. I haven't been since I was a kid when my dad used to get one with work. That would be a really cool idea if we ever do a Halifax meetup though. I don't know. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. This was, however, the first time this season I actually sat in the upper bowl for a Mooseheads game, and it's a bit of a unique experience. You can see what looks like that bulkhead at the top of the screen there. Those are the private suites in the boxes. They were obviously added on after the Metro Center's original seating. Now, for most of the upper bowl, this is okay. The biggest thing is you can't see the scoreboard, although they do project the scoreboard up above you. However, near the very top, the really cheap seats, it can be tough to see the ice. Scotiabank Center, probably not NHL ready, but it's like the perfect barn for a junior team. And the upper bowl is always really fun because you get a mix of just like, there's always a dozen hockey teams there. We sat alongside one. Shout out to the U11 Hawks. But you also get, you know, some of the wackier, drunker, more intense fans. So I think part of the experience, at least once, check out the upper bowl. Anyway, let's set some context going into this game. The Halifax Mooseheads are having an unbelievably stellar year. They have a ludicrous .792 points percentage, which actually ties them with Quebec, who they recently beat in a head-to-head matchup. The Herd has 3 games left, and Jordan Dumais is 2 back from the all-time assist record and 7 from the points record. Those are all, of course, single season. In 61 games right now, he has 52 goals, 78 assists for 130 points. The 2 other really big stars are Alexandre Doucette, 109 points, and Josh Lawrence, 108. But I mean, you can see, based on this stat sheet, that the scoring is deep. The Wildcats, who the Mooseheads played, are actually 3rd in the Eastern Conference, but there's a big, I'm talking 34-point drop-off between the top 2 teams, Halifax and Quebec, and Moncton. Unlike last year, by the way, playoffs in the Q in 2023 will be 4 rounds of best of 7. Last year, the first 3 rounds were truncated, shortened to best of 5, but I'll go into that fully when the playoffs get started. All right, as for the actual game, this is one that I thought was never in doubt, which is a pretty bold thing to say when Moncton scored 2 minutes in. Definitely one Rousseau wants to have glove love side, he had an off game, put it as it is. The Mooseheads would nearly tie it up on some beautiful passing, which we'd see all game, just really spectacular. Take your kids who play hockey to this one, but they'd end up tying it up a moment later on the same possession with a deflected shot from the blue line. And this was pretty much what the entire game was like. The Mooseheads always looked like they were on the power play. Their passing was just next level, and they could pretty much score at ease, it felt like. Still, Moncton would score the next one to go up 2-1. I think at that point, the coach probably gave it to the guys for playing a little bit sloppy. Defensively, I mean, because they really limited Moncton's chances until the third. With 5 minutes left in the first, the Mooseheads would tie it up off a scrum. Then with 3 minutes left in the first, we'd see Josh Lawrence, pure speed and skill, boogie past a few defensemen and just roof one. 2 minutes into the second, Dumais would rip one off a nice setup by Vidicek. Then on the power play, we'd see Attilo Biasca, who gave my son a nice props before the game, snipe one short side. The Mooseheads would then score a second straight power play goal with Dumais again sniping one. But in my mind, the goal of the game came shorthanded. Doucette with the beautiful drop pass to Josh Lawrence, which, I mean, that's the riskiest thing you could do shorthanded. Then just a beautiful snipe. That one was extremely exciting to watch live. However, on a scramble in front, the Wildcats would actually poke one in, making it 7-3. And this is the point where I felt like the Mooseheads just weren't really taking this game seriously. As you can see, when they played properly, it was completely tilted one way. The shots, I think, were as high as 26-10. The Mooseheads pretty much took the third off completely. They would deflect one more with 5 minutes left. Moncton would score a couple weird ones, and the final score would be 8-5 in a game that realistically was not at all close. But let me know what you thought of this segment. Have you been to a Mooseheads game this year? I've had so many of you guys reach out to me and say that you really want to come visit Halifax to see a game. I think that's so cool. I love reading those comments. Our last video actually got to 100,000 views, which to me is so cool. I'm glad there's interest into this. I'm really looking forward to covering the team as closely as I possibly can as the season goes on. If they make it to the Memorial Cup, I might have to try to take a trip. It's in Kamloops this year. BC, obviously, I've actually never been there, so it could be fun. But let me know your thoughts and more, of course, down below.